Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts, and today I have a two-parter for you. But we're going to start with part one, and next week you'll get part two. And this is part one of my interview with the booklet guy, Amrutdeshmukh. I think I'm pronouncing his name. I could be completely butchering his name. So enjoy. Okay, thank you for joining us. Today, I have with us the booklet guy, Amrutdeshmukh. How are you doing, sir?
Oh my God. Uh, I'm enjoying every bit of my journey, Make India Read, because when you work on your passion, work doesn't remain work, it becomes play. And
Yeah,
who doesn't like to play the whole day, right? I don't have
it's.
to wait for a Sunday to enjoy. I don't have to wait for a Monday to work. They
I
all are
know. I
synonymous.
think that's the biggest misconception people have is that something has to happen to them to be happy, and
Mm,
instead, it's like just be happy. Just be
exactly.
happy right now. Be happy with, the way the world may perceive that as nothing, but you need to be happy now before you're going to be happy with more. People think
Correct.
that just getting more, but then they just continue to chase sunsets, and
Yeah,
it never, it's a never ending thing. It's like you're never going to be happy that way. Just be happy now. And
right.
and I love what you said. Is like you just when you're doing what you love, you're happy.
Yes.
You're moving forward with the journey is the happiness as
Exactly.
opposed to
Uh,
the destination, which is what people always think is it's like
yeah,
it's always a destination thing.
yeah. To put it in other words, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
Exactly. That's a very good. So first question I have is, I really like your Instagram. How did you start your Instagram? How did this come about?
Well, the focus is not Instagram. In fact, that is one of the byproducts. Okay, I'm
Mm.
least bothered about my Instagram page. It's all started with my three failed startups. So I had three failed startups in a row, and
Mm.
because of that one failed relationship, so three failed startups on my LinkedIn profile, and because of that one failed relationship on my Facebook profile, and I went into chronic depression. So I was in the stock market, as a fund manager, hedge fund managers, you call those as hedge fund managers.
Mm.
And I usually born and brought up uh, in a city like Mumbai in India, where indirectly we are taught that there is nothing more important than money in life.
Yeah.
And so I got succumbed to that assumption and landed into stock market because we hear that that's the easiest way to make quick money, and I
Yeah.
actually started making a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
small car getting upgraded into a bigger car,
Yeah.
fat salary,
So you
expensive
fell into
vacation,
the trap of liabilities.
expensive vacations abroad,
Yeah.
a smaller car, TV, getting into a bigger TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I should start my own startup. I have enough savings now, but all the three startups failed miserably, which threw me into chronic depression.
Mm.
Chronic depression. And things became so bad one day that I decided that I will not see the rising sun the next morning. I decided to put an end to my life.
Mm.
And I still remember I was sitting in the same room. I was all alone at home. It was 8 o'clock in the evening. It's 8 o'clock right now
Yeah.
here. And I decided that I have to gather the things which are needed to hang myself and commit suicide. So I got up from the couch and walked three steps, one, two, three, and the lights went off. So this is quite common in India that the lights, just went off. I mean,
Yeah.
there must be some problem with the electricity board, and there was no light currents. It was complete dark in my living room, so it was very difficult to figure out the things because we are not used to find such things because one
Yeah.
doesn't kill himself every now and then.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, fine, let me come back and sit on the same couch. till the lights come back. And I sat down on the same couch and I remembered the golden words of my elder brother. So my elder brother is way elder to me by 12 years. It's a huge gap. So
Yeah.
he's more of a fatherly figure and
Yeah.
less of a fighter sibling. We never
Yeah.
fought, never fought.
Yeah.
And I was never an avid reader since childhood. Justin, I used to hate books. Still, till the fourth grade, I
Yeah.
assumed for many years that Anonymous is the name of a famous poet. That naive and anonymous. I thought that that he's some famous guy because everywhere I can see read his name, anonymous. So you can understand how naive a reader I was. uh, but then, thanks to my elder
Yeah.
brother, he used to play a trick on my birthdays. So when my birthday used to approach in the first week of July, he used to call my friends and their parents and strictly warn them that nobody will get toys and dresses and games as birthday gifts for Amrut. If at all you want to gift anything, gift only books. In short, Justin, I never enjoyed
Yeah.
my birthdays. So, surrounded with
Yeah.
books and no toys to play, I got introduced to Harry Potter, Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Snow White, Arabian Nights, Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
yeah, and some Indian mythological stories. And I fell in love with stories, not books, because as an innocent child, we all love fantasy and fiction and stories. So I don't think that was a turning point. The turning point came after my 10th exams. So 10th is considered to be the end of the primary education in India. And I
Mhm.
was just hanging out with friends, playing around with free mind. My elder brother again came to me and said that Amrut, now you're growing up. You should start reading non-fiction. And as an innocent child, I thought books means only stories. I asked him, what is non-fiction? I had no idea. And he said, the non-fiction books may not have stories in them, but you get to learn a lot from these books. And I said that what was I doing for last 10 years of education in school? I was learning, right? Why the need to learn once again? I said, no, 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 no. These things are not taught in schools and colleges. I said, what? Why? And that was the shock of my life that some things are not taught in schools. And that's not ultimate education.
Yeah.
And he gifted me a book. My first self-help or non-fiction book of my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sure you must have heard about this book. And
Yeah. That's
you know what,
that's
Justin?
that's that's
After reading that book, I went so mad on my parents, my teachers, that in my 10 years of education, nobody even discussed about financial literacy or financial freedom, the concepts of passive income, active income. It is so important.
yeah.
Yes, suddenly you declare that you have to be the breadwinner of the family. And for all these years, you don't even discuss about money matters. This is injustice. This is
Yeah.
criminal. And then I realized the
I mean,
importance
it's
of
frustrating.
yeah, yeah,
It's frustrating because you would think that that would be taught in schools.
Mhm, mhm.
Liabilities, what the difference is, how to but it's not. It's almost like school is just get back to work, get back to work, get back to work, get back to work. It's like they just keep this on
Yeah,
this little track and wheel. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just wanted to interject that
yeah,
right
yeah.
there. But yes.
And then I realized, then came the monk who sold his Ferrari, Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, a monk who sold his Ferrari, Robin Sharma. And there was no looking back. And I realized that, the more I know, the more I come to know that there is a lot that I don't know.
That's the truth. That's when you actually know, when you realize that you don't know. That's when you can really grow, because you're able to go, I don't know everything, but
Right.
there are other people that can learn from, because when you adopt that mindset, you can learn from other people.
Right.
instead of going, I have all the answers, I know everything. It's like, no, you can learn from anybody, absolutely anybody. That's what I found. And if you can adopt that mindset from learning from anybody, then you're in a good place to continue learning. But anyways, yes,
Hmm.
continue.
So coming back to the day where I
Yeah,
decided to end my life,
yeah,
and there I was on the couch, and I remembered the golden words of my elder brother. The lights were there were no lights; it was complete dark. And he always used to say when I was a child that Amrut, whenever you are stuck up with a question, what next in life, read random. Read random. Okay? He always used to say that don't fall in love with a particular category of books. That I'll read only fiction or I'll read only books, business books or technical books which will help me make money. You have to
yeah,
expose to all kinds of genres, all kinds of authors. Yeah. Uh, And then, so I thought, okay, this could be the last book of my life. I'm going to end my life. So let's listen to my words of my elder brother and let's read the last book of my life before and until then, if the lights come back, I'm going to do the what I decided to do. And there was a book lying on my left hand side. So I just picked it up. I did not even check the cover of the book, switched on the flashlight of my mobile because it was dark, and started reading. So it was a mythological story from ancient Indian mythology called Gita, Bhagavad Gita.
mm,
Yeah, it's a religious book,
yes,
and Krishna is the main protagonist of the story, and Balram is his elder brother. So both were going through a forest, a deep forest, and it gets dark. So Krishna seems to come up with a proposal for his elder brother and says that, look, it's getting dark. It's a very dangerous, risky area. We are in a jungle. So we both won't go to sleep at the same time. One of us will be awake and keep a guard on us. Okay, so I'll go to sleep. You keep a guard, do the patrolling. Once you get tired, you wake me up. I'll do my duty and you go to sleep. So Balram says, okay. And Krishna goes to sleep. Balram is walking to and fro, and a monster comes and yells at Balram.
mhm,
Balram gets scared, and this gives confidence to the monster. Monster grows bigger in size, and Balram shrinks in size. Again, he yells. Again, the monster grows bigger and bigger, and Balram shrinks in size. Okay, and at such a point that Balram is so scared, he screams, Krishna! And collapses and faints down on the ground. His
mm,
brother Krishna mistook that my brother has called my name, that it is now your duty, and he thought that he's sleeping,
yeah,
telling him that for the last time that now it's your duty indirectly. And so Krishna wakes up and starts walking. This time, the same monster looks at this new face and uses the same old trick and yells at Krishna. But this time, Krishna does something different. Without any fear, he simply looks at the monster and says, what do you want? Fearlessly. And what happens, this time the monster shrinks in size and Krishna grows bigger. This happens again and again. Okay.
yeah,
And the monster shrinks to such a tiny nut size.
yeah,
Then Krishna picks him up, ties a knot to his dhoti, an Indian traditional attire, and
mm-hmm,
goes to sleep. The next morning, both the brothers resume the journey, and obviously, Balram recollects the nightmare and says, "You know what? Yesterday, a huge monster must have almost killed me." And then Krishna says, "Wait, wait, wait, wait. Are you talking about him?" And Balram says, "Yes, but how come he's so small?" And the epic message the author wanted to give us is that face what you must face. That
yeah,
monster was simply a metaphor of the problems and challenges of our life. If we
that's
try
true.
to ignore them, try to escape them, those problems will become bigger than you, and that problem will gain control over you. But if you
Yeah.
face what you must face, you grow bigger than the problem and you gain control over it. And
It's a
these
fascinating why.
lines, yeah,
It's a fascinating way that they explain that, because it's true. I mean, that goes for anything,
oh,
face your demons, face your
yes,
fears,
yes, yes,
and you will grow, in size, as opposed to that. The
yes,
monster is only has power because you're giving it power.
exactly,
You can take the power back. And it just shows that, our problems, we create our own problems. I think
absolutely,
is another way to look at it.
yeah,
So you're reading this. So
yeah. And that bad, ugly thought of self sabotage never came back in my mind. A book saved my life, you know.
that's the power of books. That's the power of reading, because I'm gonna get emotional here, because that's such a powerful story. Um, Books can do that. I don't know if any other medium can really do that, because when you're reading it, I say this on my podcast all the time, it disarms you. So by just, I'm just going to casually read this book, it slowly took you in and taught you a lesson. And as you said, saved your life. And to me, that shows the power of books. And as friend On would say, it gives you a different perspective. It gives you a different perspective on life, and you were able to see that. So I'm sorry. I just think that's such a fascinating story that you just told. That you how
Yeah,
you how you overcame that.
yeah, yeah. I'll still get goosebumps whenever I recollect that event.
Yeah.
That if had I not read that book, which came to my rescue, probably we would end up talking today on the Zoom call, right? And I understood the power
Yeah.
of a reading habit. Okay, I realized I started talking to many friends in my neighborhood and realized that many of my friends bought the books but never bothered to read them. And I understood that reading habit and books are not synonymous. They're two different things. It's like,
That is something you will see. People will buy books and have them sit on the shelf. My father is like that. I was looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you got all these amazing books. There's this, the power of positive thinking, this here. And then I talked to him, he's like, he's never read it anymore. I'm like, so that can become, yeah, you're right. And you're hitting right into thing, the reading habit of how do you make it daily. And I'm curious, what are some of the things that you found that works to get people to read every day,
exactly, exactly.
or maybe not necessarily every day, but read on some kind of a schedule.
Yeah. So once I understood that books and reading habit are not synonymous, there's a difference between the two. It's not about books, it's about reading habit. Not just reading one book, right? It's about reading habit. It's a continuous process. And so I decided to encourage my friends to read and not just give books for free or book summaries for free. Yeah, it's like having dumbbells at home and lifting those dumbbells are two different things. We all have dumbbells at home, right? How many of us go and take the effort of lifting them
Yeah.
on a regular basis? Yeah. Uh, Luckily, I got a call from my CA friend. So I'm a chartered accountant, an equivalent CPA degree in America. And because I was
Mm-hmm.
depressed in those days, not socializing, not participating in any of the festivals of India, he probably saw pity on me and called me that there is a blockbuster movie going on in movie theaters called Bahubali. Have you heard about this movie called Bahubali?
I'm pretty sure I've
Yeah,
heard something of it, but
yeah, yeah. It has broken all the records in Indian cinema.
yeah.
So he said, "Let's go and watch that movie." So we reached the movie theater 15 minutes before the show time.
Hmm.
Probably we overestimated the traffic jams of Mumbai. And so what to do? How to kill time? We both were not interested in shopping. And because of my mental state, I was not
Yeah.
interested in the other attractions of the mall, you know, bird watching. so I was so I was reading a book that week, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Again, a timeless epic. Okay, will be relevant for next 1,000 years, come what may. Whether it is whether AI takes over this world, that
Yeah.
book is perennial. So I just casually happened to narrate him those seven habits, casually, okay,
Mm.
with some personal examples. In 15 minutes, I explained him all the seven habits because they were very fresh in my
Mm.
mind. He was so impressed by my narration. He said, Amrut, you're a fantastic explainer. You have that skill. The way you explained all those seven habits with your personal anecdotes, I felt I visited the author and understood his book without touching the book. That powerful
Mm.
narration was. And you know what? I have the guilt of not reading regularly, but I know that because of your elder brother, you read regularly. So can you do one
Mm.
thing? You must be taking some notes in your diary whenever you read a best-selling book. I know you read a lot of non-fiction books. Can you send a picture of those notes or bullet points, or the summary to me on WhatsApp,
Mm.
okay, so that your reading habit can benefit me. That
Interesting.
last line, yeah. Did you get me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last line struck my mind so hard. Wow, my reading habit can benefit my friend. I'm
Yeah.
passionate about reading, and while doing that, if that can help my friend, it's a perfect win-win. And
Yeah.
win-win is one of the seven habits in the book, right?
Yeah.
And I got so restless to work on this idea. The movie started, and a blockbuster movie like Bahubali, I found it so boring because now I was in a altered state of mind,
Yeah. You're
and a
thinking of
new
something
ray
else
of
at the time.
hope. A new ray of hope. The guy who was about to commit suicide a couple of days ago has now found a hope to
Yeah.
work on his fourth startup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I lied to my friend in the interval that I want to pee, and I escaped from the theater without informing him. Went back home, checked on the internet the whole night. I did not sleep. Is anybody doing such things like summaries? It was back in 2015. No, short 20-minute summaries of these great books which are not part of our school and college syllabus, right? The books
Yeah.
which we mentioned right now. Nobody was doing it. I decided to execute this idea. No, within 1 week, before the excitement fades away from our mind.
Yeah.
I read in one of the books on called $100 Startup. Yeah,
Yeah.
the author says ideas are useless, and I was like, what? What is he saying? We say an idea can change the world. He says no, ideas don't change the world. Execution of ideas change the world. Thousands of ideas come to our mind on toilet seat every day. How many of us work on those ideas once we are out of the toilet? That's the icebreaker, right? And so I wanted
Yeah.
to execute that idea within 1 week. Yeah,
Yeah. So you executed that idea.
yeah. And then, being a non-IT guy, I'm a professional accountant, chartered accountant.
Yeah.
No, doesn't know how to develop an app or a website. How can I go ahead with
Yeah.
this idea, right? Then
Yeah.
again, the golden words of my elder brother. What did he say? Whenever you are stuck up with the question, what next? Read random.
Read random.
And I again started reading random books which were gathering dust on my bookshelf, borrowed from my neighbors. And most of them happened to be autobiographies and biographies of great world leaders: Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela. Mother Teresa, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And I realized why I failed in my three previous startups. I found the answer. It was not about that the ideas were not great or my marketing strategy went wrong or I did not work hard enough. Neither of these reasons. It was the fundamental question that I asked myself whenever I was about to start a new venture. The question was, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
My money, my progress, my wealth, my bank balance, my profits,
Instead of
my
what's in it
promotion.
for
Exactly.
others.
Yeah. After reading these, where the world leaders, the whole world is following them. They're dead years, decades ago. If Mahatma Gandhi was alive today, his Twitter handle would have crashed because of
Yeah.
excessive followers, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. As you mentioned, the past. I mean, the only thing that really changes is the tools of communication.
Yeah.
Communication is always the same, but it's how we communicate. See, it's
Yes.
that we're not that different from Alexander the Great or from Napoleon Bonaparte, in the French Revolution. You can see the similarities between the two. The
Mm.
only thing that's really changed is the communication tools,
Right.
unless
Right.
AI comes and destroys us
Yeah.
all, and then we're and
And
then we're
so
out of the game.
after reading these biographies, there was a paradigm shift in my mindset from what's in it for me to what can I give. Suddenly, everything changed. The word opportunity, we look at it with such a narrow mindset. Opportunity means opportunity to make money, business
Yeah.
opportunity. I think that's disgrace to humanity. There are
Yeah.
so beautiful shades of the word of called opportunity. Opportunity to help a friend. Yeah. Opportunity to listen to a person who is in pain with a lot of empathy is also an opportunity. Right. Opportunity
Yeah.
to tap into your unique skills and talents and make use of it for the benefit of others is an
Yeah.
opportunity without expecting anything in return is an opportunity, right? And so with this changed mindset that okay,
And one of the
yeah, go ahead.
one of the things I think that was happening also was you were going for the short-term gain instead of playing the long game, which
Yeah.
is something like Warren Buffett has talked about, is how you should be going for, instead of going for the stock that is, oh look, this is the one to get right now. Look into it and go, is this the stock I want to have for 10 years? Is this a company I want to invest? Are these people that I care about and that we can help each other? And I think that goes, paramount to what you were talking about, in how your first two startups were, like I said, these are ways for me to make money. I mean, I don't know. They're not really serving the thing. Whereas the third one, you're like, this is a mission statement, and
Exactly.
I'm reminded of Vishen Lakiani's book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, where he
Extraordinary.
talks about that, having a mission statement that is bigger than you, like what you have. Get people to read. Same thing with me. I want people to learn and read. And how do we get rid of this idea that reading is only for certain people? It's like, no, it's for everybody, and it doesn't have to be work. This is a way for us to communicate.
Mm,
It's our way to dive into somebody else's brain that
mm.
we don't that we would never be able to meet, like an Alexander the Great, or as you said, Martin Luther King, somebody that's no longer with us, but you can actually get into their mindset.
Mm.
Sorry, I just had to jump right in there.
Yeah, you said it so nicely. Typically, parents say, take a good job, take a good job. No parent says, take a job you love.
Exactly.
Right?
I say that to people. I say, so what do you want to do? And they look at me like, what do you mean? Like they've never heard that word. So no, seriously, what would you like to do? And I'll, paint the picture and be like, well, if you, could control the universe, what would you want to do? And then it's like, go with that. That's what
Mm.
you need to be doing, not what you think you should be doing. You bring, parents are like, yeah, get a good job,
Yeah.
go do this, go to college, go do this. And it's like, these are means to get somewhere, but
Uh,
they're not a mission statement. They're not, they're not saying about what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to give back? It's basically just, how can I fit in? It's basically
ah,
what they're saying about what's the way so my son will not have the most failure. And I think that's the problem with a lot of parents is, they're so protective of the children, and of their kids, they don't want them to go through pain. So it's like, okay, go do this. This will be a good job. Go be a doctor. It's like, okay, that's great. But what if that's not what you're meant to be? What if that's not what you want to be? And where does the passion lie? And I think that's why your third startup started to work, because it was where the passion is, as opposed to the other ones where it was like, this is the way for me to, get a TV, get that. And it's like, those were all material things. Those can come with anything. But having the mission statement and then having those things, that just adds to it, as opposed
mm.
to, starting with how much material wealth can I attain, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my little intro.
So nice, so nice. That reminds me a wonderful idea from the book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I just love the idea, the way he has presented it. So assume, Justin, that you have already achieved 10 goals, 10 dreams of your life.
Mm,
What is the obvious natural outcome of you having achieved these goals? So you would probably say happiness. You'll be happy, right?
mm,
Okay. But he says there is a better answer to it. Okay. So let's try to dig deeper into this. What is the opposite of happiness? Sadness? Yeah. The opposite of happiness is sadness, right? He says no. Okay. The opposite of happiness is not sadness, it is boredom. Because happiness and sadness are two sides of the same coin. Where there is happiness, there has to be sadness in between. Only then you'll become again happy, right? So they are
mm.
not the opposite things, they are the two sides of the same coin. So if the opposite of happiness is boredom, then a better appropriate synonym for happiness is excitement. So when people say that, find your passion, work, do what you love, do what you are passionate about, they're basically saying do what excites you. So the right question to be asked is, you should not ask what is my goal, what do I want to achieve, but ask yourself, what is that excites me? What is that something where I lose track of time? And my mother used to, when I was a child, she had to pull me out of all of that activity. Come have lunch. Used to forget your thirst and hunger and get into that flow state.
Yeah.
So we have to fantastic, and I got such a clarity that what I have to do in life. Yeah,
Yeah.
reading books for others is so exciting. Everybody reads for oneself, but nobody
Yeah.
reads for others, and
Yeah.
that was like a
Yeah.
dopamine hit for me. Yeah, and I decided that okay, this time I'm not going to chase money. It's not about myself. It's about helping my friends to cultivate reading habit. And the simplest way to execute that idea within 1 week without any IT knowledge was to get started on WhatsApp. Because I know that the whole of India is on WhatsApp, including my friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the first book that I summarized was Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. It's a very, very old book,
Mm,
Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And one idea which was so fascinating from that book. It says constraint inspires creativity. And I was like, what? Constraint inspires creativity. We typically think that, for creativity and innovation, We need lots of ideal resources and a laboratory setup and a mentor, and then innovation happens, right? He says exactly the opposite. Creative constraint is not an obstacle, it is the mother of creativity. For example, I know you're a model and you have a fantastic physique. So when the lockdown was declared initially, and
Mm.
those bodybuilders and gym freak guys went mad because we thought that the lockdown will last for a few days,
Yeah.
and then it happened for months, right? And
Yeah.
then gradually, because the gyms were closed, they started thinking creatively and started making use of things which are already available at home. They
Yeah.
started
That
using,
was a benefit of the pandemic. Yeah.
yes, they started using buckets of water as dumbbells and started doing pull-ups on the doors,
Yeah.
right? Which they
Yeah.
never thought of before, because there was no constraint. Gyms were open. For the first time, gyms were closed, so they were forced to think creatively.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the author is trying to say. If you
Yeah.
decide to take action within
Yeah. I wanted to add a little bit to that constraint. If you look at the film Solaris, that was made in like in Russia, and periods of that where he had to make a science fiction film, but he couldn't really have anything about the KGB, so he had to walk around it. He had to. Another example, Taxi Driver. They were trying to give him a rated X rating. So what he did was he changed the color of the blood so that they could get through. So as you said, constraint can breed creativity, innovation. Whereas most think of that as like, oh no, I can't do it unless I can do it. It's like, no, 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 no. The constraint will happen. And bringing it back to you, when you said that, you knew the mission statement you wanted to start with. How do I give people this summer? How do I write for them so that they can understand and develop a reading habit? Now, I don't know anything about IT or anything that, but the mission statement's there, and that will guide you to the next thing. Now, we'll go back to
yeah.
where you were talking about.
Yeah. So when I got the message of the author, and I understood that phrase, that constraint inspires creativity, which he clearly meant that if you force your mind to take action within the limited resources which are already available to you, then you soon realize that acres of diamonds are right there in your backyard. And
Mm.
hence the name of the book, Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And so I thought, okay, what do I already have? Okay, till now I was thinking that what I don't have. I don't have a IT degree. I don't have the software knowledge. Fine. What do I already have?
And there's the
Yeah.
change right there in that thought
Ah,
process. Instead of
yes.
thinking about lack, you started thinking about, what do I have?
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
And I
as
thought,
as we say, thinking positively. But in this case, it's more thinking innovatively, which you're
yeah.
shifting the negative into a positive. Sorry, I just said to throw that in
I thought that I have WhatsApp and everybody's on WhatsApp. And at this time, I just have to give and not expect anything in return because of my altered state of mind. Now it's about giving and not the selfish taking. And so I summarized the same book, Acres of Diamonds, made a nice 20-minute summary of it in text, and shared it with 10 of my close friends, including the guy who gave me that idea in the movie theater, and told them
Wow.
that, look, the whole idea is that I have a strong belief. My why of life is now, my why is a strong belief that if I'm not reading, I'm not changing. And if I'm not changing, I am not growing. And because of the strong belief, I have this burning desire to cultivate the habit of reading amongst the youth of my country. And hence I'm on a mission called Make India Read. Yeah. And so I said that this book summary is just a stupid excuse to keep books relevant in your daily routine. Okay,
Mm,
I never claimed that my summaries are a substitute for books. No, sorry. That will
yeah,
be an insult of the author. I won't forgive myself for doing that. Okay. Authors are God to me. Yeah.
yeah,
And so if you like the summary, go ahead and read the book. Okay. And you can also share that summary with your friends and be free to share my WhatsApp number with them.
yeah.
And you know what, Justin? Within 1 week, I got 1,000 requests from unknown people who were not my direct friends. They were my friend of friends. It
Wow.
was it was going so fast.
So the
Yeah.
compound effect,
Yes.
another great book. You know,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
compound effect is happening here,
Yes.
where you've created something here, and now people are seeing that. Now I love what you said, that books, the book summaries are not a substitute for the actual reading, which is something I've seen in this country, United States, is that seems to be what a lot of people are, what they're trying to do now, is make an app where, like, oh, you don't have to read the book, just read our summaries of it. It's like, no, you need to still read it, but
Mhm.
here's something that will add to it. you know
Yeah.
it's an
If not
addition.
books, at least the summaries. Okay. I mean, I thought that I'm for the non-readers who have
Yeah,
the guilt. They know the power of reading habit, but somehow reading never becomes a top priority.
yeah.
And unfortunately, the most important things in life are never urgent. Reading, exercise, meditation, family time, yeah, long-term planning. They are all give you delayed gratification. They are not Instagrammable.
Well, that about does it for part one. I want to thank Amrutdeshmukh, the booklet guy. You should check out his mission statement, Make India Read. His app is fantastic. His book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Readers, I've read it. It's a great book. Yeah, the booklet app. You can get it on your iPhone or Android. So, yes, enjoy. Let me make sure that I am actually stating the correct term of how to pronounce his book. Booklet Guy's Reading Habits. The 7 Secrets of Effective Readers is actually the full title. And go check it out. And I will see you next time on the DMF